Consumer behavior in itself is pretty deep.
Definitely, this can be leveraged for understanding deeper behavioral nuances, why a certain person reacts to a certain messaging much stronger.
How do these traits influence consumer decision making and beyond a certain personality type?
Understand this, it's a deep science, it's mystic, yet it has a lot of practical application. If I can tap into the 95% of human mind using system 1 tools and methods, I can predict better, I can have sharper insights, and I can have much more actionable outputs.
So date of birth से आपको zodiac sign पता चलेगा.
Right.
How about the traits?
So let's say if I'm talking about a Gen Z today and I'm mapping, doing a zodiac segmentation for them versus a millennial, I would probably see that the zodiac traits would not be different, but the behavioral traits will be different. Because they are two different generations, they think differently.
Both the air signs again, Gemini and Aquarians.
See, for Gemini, there's a lot of duality, right, in what they look for. And sometimes, they might want that I need to be the first one.
आज का एपिसोड बहुत अमेजिंग होने वाला है. वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट हाउ आर zodiac signs and market research go in tandem. Welcome to the collaborative canvas where we decode ideas, insights, and innovation that are shaping the future of the business. I'm your host, Ankesh Saxena, and today we're diving into something very cosmic, and quite literally. Joining me is Smriti Singh Bhatia, the Chief Visionary Officer at the Incognito Insights Private Limited, a pioneer in decoding human behavior through neuromarketing, behavioral science, and cutting-edge analytics. With over 2 decades of industry expertise, Smriti and her team are not only disrupting the market space, but also democratizing the insights for brands across the globe. In this episode, we are exploring how zodiac signs can reveal more than just your horoscope. They might just be the secret to unlocking the personalized consumer engagement. So can astrology and AI really combine to create hyper-personalized marketing? And which signs are the impulsive buyers, or which ones are the most brand loyal? And what does this all mean for the future of the marketing strategy? So stay tuned as we connect the stars to the shopper's mind. And we welcome Smriti Singh Bhatia.
Thank you, Ankesh. Pleasure.
Thank you so much for joining me, Smriti. I mean, we really wanted to do something together. And when you floated this idea that we should do, this connection,
right.
And when it was a time when I'm kind of starting my own venture and doing this podcast and kind of looking every now and then on those horoscope as to what would my next day would be, I never thought that this can also correlate with my marketing strategies on how I can develop other stuff.
Exactly.
And that's a depth to it. I mean, there are like 12 signs, 12 different traits, times 12 that we can actually think of. So we'll go one by one to understand where this whole idea came through. And let's start with, understanding the journey behind it.
Sure. So, the journey goes really way back. As far as I remember, a 7-8-year-old girl who kind of knew Linda Goodman as back of her hand, right? So, very intriguing, always very curious about if there are 12 zodiac signs, are there only 12 kinds of personas in the world? And it used to be like, and I would see somebody behaving in a certain way, doing certain things, having certain mannerisms, certain quirks. I would always be like, okay, ये कौन सा zodiac है, right? और वो inquisitiveness इतनी strong थी that it became a part of my observational tendencies. And as I grew into a market researcher, which I think was almost, something that the stars had written for me, or I always tell my mom that otherwise I would have been an astrologer perhaps. Not that I can do predictions, but it was a science that I always very strongly was interested in. वहाँ से जब शुरू हुआ, and then I went through this whole journey of being a researcher, and consumer behavior was something that was a passion for me. I started to go deeper into it, did a lot of study over years, and then this thing was always there. Definitely this can be leveraged for understanding deeper behavioral nuances, why a certain person reacts to a certain messaging much stronger, right? Even simple things like, let's not even talk about how we sell today, but let's say even, we do have natural calamities, right? There was an earthquake that happened. How many of us donated there? even if I have the money, right? Whether I will donate to a cause or a brand which does something which is very philanthropic, only if, as a zodiac, I am wired in a certain way, right? That also has a huge bearing. So if you understand this, it's a deep science, it's mystic, yet it has a lot of practical application. So that intrigued me into this space a lot more.
Consumer behavior in itself is pretty deep.
Yes.
When you decode one element of it, you probably be not able to see the other element.
Absolutely.
So you probably have to decode further.
Yeah.
It's like a deep sea. And more often in our research conversations, we always talk about system 1 and system 2. And that's something that you have also implemented in your thesis.
Absolutely.
So I would not say that what you created cannot predict marketing. It definitely does. Because when you understand your consumer, and when I'm actually saying this, I'm actually feeling that goosebumps right now, that even if I have to go zodiac sign by zodiac sign, which we'll probably be discussing a bit, how do these traits influence consumer decision making and beyond a certain personality type?
That's interesting. Since you brought system 1, let me explain that a little bit. Now, what is system 1? System 1 is our intuitive self, right? Self that is hardwired. Okay, some of us are intuitive, and therefore we can sense it. Some of us cannot, right? But it operates. It's not that it's dormant.
Of course.
Right? And you would be surprised to know that 95% of our decisions are driven by system 1. It is only that 5% which is system 2, which is the rational mind. And a lot of the traditional research that happens today in the world is system 2. So you're just tapping into 5% of human mind. So if I can tap into the 95% of human mind using system 1 tools and methods, I can predict better, I can have sharper insights, and I can have much more actionable outputs, right? And if I talk about, therefore, our astro signs, right, our zodiacs is system 1.
Yeah.
Right?
Now makes sense.
It is something that you and me are born with.
Yeah.
Yes, our system 1 definitely evolves over time because it gets affected by our environment. It gets affected by people around me, my culture. So that is the reason why you would see that layering behavior over it is very important, right? 2 Librans may not take the same decision, but they need to take that decision, or where they're coming from, or the motivation may be the same. Right? And because behavior would shape our system 1 as well.
And that is system 1?
Yeah.
So let's come to system 2, which is 5%, because behind the scenes you mentioned about observations.
Yeah. So observations, again, are very interesting because, as marketeers, if we can understand and tap into why and from where these behaviors are stemming from, which can be done in 2 ways. One, I ask you, right, that, okay, Ankesh, this typical survey, what do you like in this brand? And Ankesh would think, yeah, okay, maybe this brand is cheap, okay, I get a good deal on this brand, yeah, आसानी से मिल जाती है, तो या मेरी favorite brand है, इसमें मैं अच्छा लगता हूँ, right? So that's the answer, because you thought so much. But if I were to just not ask you and intuitively try and understand from you that what this brand means to you, a lot of it will come from how you feel about it. Right? Not about how you respond to it.
True.
So the feeling is something that is coming through understanding system 1. It's again what our zodiac signs are all about, right? As a person or as a zodiac sign, if I have a certain trait which motivates me, the kind of person I am, sooner or later, and that will be my dominant trait, which will showcase in each and every behavior or any action I'm taking in my life. Not just buying something, but it's a life decision also that will reflect. Some people cannot take decisions. They are completely confused between 2 choices. It's a typical Libran trait. They can't decide, right? And you would see that. So if you are, let's give you an example. Let's say take the same example of a Libran. Now, we know from zodiac studies that Librans are quite indecisive.
Yeah.
And for a brand, that's very important. Because if I give him 2 choices, which are equally difficult to understand, or 2 choices which are too good, both are very good, you're confusing the hell out of the consumer. So how do you simplify messaging for him, right? If I know that, I can pass on a message, or I can get him to take a bait to get the deal which I want him to take, because I've simplified it for you. right? And that is something that if a brand is able to master, which is pretty easy because we have today AI, and which can be leveraged to actually do this predictive kind of analysis and thinking for us and tell us what message to float to what kind of consumer. And all you need to know is their date of birth, which is a non-PI information. Yeah, so I think it's a very, very interesting space which has huge applications, and it's a breakthrough if someone can actually leverage it.
आपने लिब्रंस का एग्जाम्पल क्यों लिया?
मेरे आसपास बहुत लिब्रंस हैं जो बहुत क्लोज हैं, and I've observed them a lot closely, and that's why I can see that all of this is so true, right? It's not something I've read only. It's not something I have only seen or I believe only. It's something I've actually observed. I have living proof around me of how they behave, what choices they make in their life. So it's like I'm living a daily experiment, right? And that is something which motivated me to do this as a scientific, with a scientific rigor, so that I can prove it. Because see, nobody would believe your gut feel, and I feel so. But if I am able to prove it through science, through research, data, then that becomes a fact.
So Smriti, before I go to the next question, आपने mention किया कि अगर date of birth पता चल जाए, तो सिर्फ date of birth से आपको zodiac sign पता चलेगा.
Right.
How about the traits?
So each zodiac.
एक चीज और, have you identified कि ये zodiac sign है, उसकी generally ये traits होते हैं. But questionnaire के अंदर, survey के अंदर कैसे?
Okay, that's interesting. See, that's how the model works. So what we did, we studied all the zodiac traits across heaps of data that is available for us through some very, very popular astrologers over the years. Western, Indian both. So right from a Linda Goodman to a Bejan Daruwala, to your writers in the newspaper, horoscopes.
Yeah.
And we analyzed, okay, what are all of them saying, right? What are these 12? And these zodiacs is not only today. These, the Babylonians did in 2400 BC, right? As old as that. So ये science है. ये हमारा universe को 12 हिस्से में बांटा गया है, right? They're constellations. They behave in a certain way. They manifest in a certain way. And the traits are almost like hard facts. They're etched, right? So they would be, obviously, you would ask me that, okay, somebody is at a cusp. वो क्या trait exhibit करेगा? तो उसका dominant trait होगा उस scenario में जहाँ how that zodiac is manifesting. It is manifesting both the traits of the zodiac because it's at cusp. So what decisions will drive him towards one versus the other will be obviously in terms of what choices are present for him. Now, let's say these 12 zodiacs have, to simplify, 3 dominant traits each. There are many.
Of course.
Right? So for 3 dominant traits that you have for each zodiac, you know that this is what is something that they manifest. Let's say, take an example of maybe a Sagittarius, right? Now, known for people who are extremely freedom lovers. I'm talking very generic astrology right now. I'm not getting into
basic
research. Very basic trait. And people will understand this because Sagittarius are known to be freedom lovers.
Yeah.
They like to experiment, right? Now, these are traits which you would see even if you have Sagittarian friends. You would have seen them, right? देखा है आपने. आप believe करते हो कि वो ऐसे होते हैं.
Librans पे तो definitely.
Absolutely.
मेरे पास हैं आसपास बहुत सारे.
हाँ, तो वो traits real हैं, right? अब उन traits को जब आप abuse कैसे करोगे? Right? I know that, okay, they are the ones who probably like to have independent thinking, independent decision, don't box them. I would use those traits and I would also take their behavior, right? Now, how would I map their behavior? I will take, let's say, very basic things in terms of other risk takers, right? What is the risk appetite, right? Are they people who basically are, introvertish, extrovertish? So I will take all of these kind of areas and I will try and create a model which works using AI algorithms to help me understand, okay, if this is a zodiac personality trait, this is the behavior, can I predict, therefore, the kind of decisions they're likely to take? Let me give you an example. For example, let's take the Sagittarius. Now, he's a freedom lover. He's somebody who's an independent thinker. He's also somebody who takes risk, therefore. right? Because when I'm going to, and that's the data I'm collecting. I'm not assuming. I only assume the personality traits because those are hard facts given to me by years and years of astrology studies. What I take from you is basically a behavior that I would map using your system 2 and system 1. How will I do it? With system 2, I will just do a basic questionnaire, right? On certain kind of parameters, I will ask you to evaluate yourself. Like, are you a risk-averse person? Are you a risk-taker? Are you experimentative? Are you the first one who goes
The things
and buys
which we are
brand?
not too sure of.
Exactly. You will just collect that system 2 data.
Okay.
And system 1 is, again, when I'm going to ask you to take a neuromarketing experience, which is called implicit association testing, drawn from psychology. People who've read about it, they know that it's used to understand biases, right? And biases are, again, deep-rooted. So if I would, again, do a system 1 data from you, I would understand that Ankesh, because assuming Ankesh is a Sagittarian, is likely to be biased towards things which probably allow him to feel independent, right? Once I get that data from you and I'm able to map your personality traits on it, I know exactly what offers I will give to you. If I tell Ankesh that, Ankesh, listen, you buy this because this is great for you, Ankesh will never buy it.
Of course.
Because that doesn't talk
Qualifies
to you.
It. Exactly.
It doesn't talk to you as a person, right? So as a marketeer, I would, if I know this, that Ankesh, all I need to know that Ankesh is a Sagittarian, because the rest of it I know from my AI, work. AI will tell me exactly this is how Ankesh is going to behave, this is what is Ankesh going to like, this is how Ankesh typically will take his, journey and decision making. And let's say, if I have to do it for a specific objective. Now, in this case, what we did was interesting. We thought, okay, let's do it for marketing offers, right? Because there are a plethora of offers out there.
Yeah.
There's a buy one, get one, right? So which offer would attract which zodiac? Who's going to fall for what offer? If a marketer could already predict that, let's say I'm a brand today, and I want to push you a certain offer, why am I pushing a blanket offer? Who are those guys who are coming and going for a buy one, get one? Not everybody is. Not everybody cares. So there are various examples of other zodiacs who will never go for a buy one, get one.
Which was kind of my next question to you, because I read in your study that you talked about specific unique shopping personas. And for each zodiac sign, in fact, वो जो study आपने दी थी. One you mentioned about Sagittarius. How about a few others?
Okay.
Just citing an example like Virgos.
Okay, Virgos are interesting. Virgos, if you know, are earth sign, right? So earth sign itself tells you that they are extremely evaluative, right? Very, very, let's say, rational in their thought process. They will always weigh pros and cons of everything.
True.
They will believe in a lot of reviews. So let's say if they are shopping online, they are not the ones who will fall for impulse. They will go through probably all the reviews written there, right? Wait 2 more days, sleep over it, then probably go and buy, right? So for a Virgo, if you have to attract them, you would have to really do that bit of evaluation for them, right? For example, tell them this kind of product is, has got this backing to it in terms of claims or in terms of scientific evidence, or telling them about that in such cases it has worked 30 times better or 30% more. They have to believe in a lot of valid proof. Then they will buy. But they will not be the ones who will come first to buy. So if you know this already, and let's say I know my consumer segment, and I am able to segment them basis zodiac, then I know exactly how to lure a Virgo versus another zodiac.
Aquarius
also are extreme because they fall in the same this thing. They are also extremely evaluative, but somewhere have a very strong desire for the larger good. Okay. For them, I think it's very important that whatever decisions they're taking, is it going in creating some value in the larger sense, right? Am I contributing? So let's say if there's a brand which says that, I'm going to be giving you rewards, right? Let's say we talk about an airline brand which today gives you a lot of miles. If that airline brand comes about and says that I'm going to donate these miles on your behalf, yeah, the Aquarius will actually start becoming loyal to that brand because he feels that the brand is doing a good cause. So for them, more than the commercial sense of it, the fact that you are working for a good cause has a very strong impact.
And considering that there is technology around it, so understanding the traits of a particular zodiac signs and creating the marketing strategies would not be a bigger challenge given the technology right now.
Not at all. Not at all. It's got immense scalability. Also, I'm just giving you one example of, let's say, how you do a marketing offer. Let's say you have to design, a complete brand experience. Colors.
Yeah.
Right? What colors, what themes, fashion. What kind of themes, will attract one zodiac versus the other. It's not about...
So let's compare one.
Okay, sure.
So let's compare both the air signs again. Gemini and Aquarians.
Okay, so see, for Gemini, there's a lot of duality, right, in what they look for. And sometimes, they might want that I need to be the first one to get something, right? It's not about being a winner. It's about being that, okay, I was the first to try it. I know it.
You bang on to that, yes.
That feeling, right? Yeah. So for them, if you're positioning and giving them something which is a first experience, you are the only one who's getting it, yeah? I come back to an airline example always because I work very strongly in that space. You give them the only person in the flight who gets an upgrade. I deserved it. There was something in me, I got it. So that is very strongly a Gemini trait. On the other hand, an Aquarius is extremely grounded in that sense, right? For them, that is meaningless.
That's also true.
Same air signs, but different behavior traits. So it's not necessary that every air sign will also behave the same way, right? It's a lot about what is a dominant trait that that zodiac sign exhibits, as well as your behavior. So behavior is very important, because if I only look at zodiac signs, I'm not going to be able to really predict behavior.
True.
I can't.
Yeah.
Because there's a huge layer of our system, one, which operates bases our experiences.
Which is why you need some information and some research through system 2 as well.
You need some system 2 as well. You need to understand that person's decision making. There will always be an influence of the zodiac, but there's also an influence of his environment, his culture, his bringing up, his values. A lot of that will also have an impact.
So how can brands practically use zodiac-based segmentation for hyper-personalization marketing in their campaigns? And when you answer this question, I want you to compare one more zodiac signs, in fact two vis-a-vis, Pisceans and Cancerians.
Okay, both are water signs.
Yes.
Right? Water signs per se are very emotional, right? For them, I think what really works very well as a brand is that, is the brand able to connect to me, let's say nostalgia, right? Now, food, easy category. A brand comes and makes ready-to-drink juices, you will guess the brand. Packages it in a very different packaging, which was at one time disrupted in the market, and puts a nice story at the back of the pack, okay, which takes you back to your journey as a child, growing up, as an Indian child, growing up around their grandparents, paper boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. That element of brand, which is all about, it brings me back to the memories, long lost memories that I had maybe with my nani, right? Or this aam panna tastes like how my nani made it at home,
Yeah.
is a huge pull for signs that belong to the water, right? Zodiac, which is Pisceans, Scorpions. They really pay a lot of value to brands and build loyalty if you're able to connect with them at that level. So even if then you are premium, even if you are charging an exorbitant amount of money just for that nostalgic value, just for that emotional connect that you've been able to create with the consumer, they will really go an extra mile.
But you also mentioned that, one single zodiac sign may have multiple traits.
Absolutely.
I know a few of them who are like, water signs, and they're very, very emotional, and they're very touched on a lot of emotional elements. But they also never spend that heavily.
Yeah, but when I say that they might go an extra mile and spend, it's not really just for that emotion, but that brand really brings in a lot of value, right? So it has to taste like that aam panna that my nani used to make,
Makes
by
sense.
the way.
The emotion that values.
Yeah. So it's just not that I feel emotion and I'm going to buy you, but it's about the fact that because your product stands that, that kind of quality test in my head, which is bringing me that memories back, not just by what you're claiming, but what I'm experiencing. So experience is also very important here.
And the methodology that blends both implicit as well as, the explicit, the survey data. What is that dual approach that reveals the traditional research would stick to it and it's not missing anything?
See, the traditional approach is only tapping into our 5%, like I said, is very, very stated data, right? And we know that especially as when we do market research, we have a polite consumer who will always try and project a certain image of him, may want to please you, right? A lot of time that data is at face value, right? But I can't bluff my implicit.
Yeah.
Right? Even if I want to. And this is very interesting because when we started doing this, maybe about 8-9 years back now, we did a small pilot where we had a lot of people come in and a lot of brand side people who would come in to basically get them an experience of it, that how does it work? Because it's very gamified, if you've seen it, right? So people, what is this? Kuch bhi nahi hai, just, some, basically some kind of sham. And they said, okay, so there was this very smart guy who said, I'm going to try and basically rig it. I said, okay, rig it? I mean, how would you do it?
Yeah.
He said, मैं अपना दिमाग से करूँगा rig. I said, अच्छा जी करिए, आप rig करके देख लो. So what I'm trying to say is that system 1 is so powerful that no matter what and how you want to manipulate the data, you cannot.
Of course.
Because your inherent subconscious can never lie. So if I'm able to tap into that subconscious and then look at your system 2, which is stated data, a lot of times it conflicts as well. What you mean versus what you say are two different things, always, right? So therefore, when we are doing this kind of a multi-modal kind of methodology, we take in both the data points. So we do not just completely say, okay, let's just junk system 2. It makes no sense. It does. Because I want to understand that what you're saying, why you're saying it, how you're saying it, right? What are the drivers for that? And at the same time, I want to tap into your subconscious mind as well. And then when I blend these two, I'm able to get a far more actionable output. And on top of this, when I'm layering your Zodiac, then it's a,
It's more like a predictive model.
It's a predictive model. It's extremely powerful, right? Because again, Zodiacs are operating at a very, very strong subconscious level.
And definitely works. So again, taking back to the दो examples आपने दिए, एक कि if like Aquarians, you mentioned that they can become more brand loyal to an airline who says ki I'll give your frequent flyer points as a charity.
Yeah.
Or for that matter, that aam panna, if that tastes good, emotional elements from these water signs would even go and buy that as long as they're feeding their taste buds. So how do these zodiac signs, because kahin na kahin there's a customer trust and a brand loyalty, and both of those examples actually cited about the brand loyalty because of the zodiac signs.
Correct.
So can you mention which are more emotionally driven versus analytically driven? जैसे मैंने पहले भी बोला था ना कि even if I like आम पन्ना, I'm not going to spend money onto that unless until it is really hitting my taste buds.
It has to make you believe that this is the same aam panna
Exactly.
that your nani used to make for you, right? So it's not just emotional. It has got a huge rational proof behind it. Now let's talk about the fire signs, right? Aries. This zodiac sign is pretty dominantly driven by impulse. It's about getting new experiences, right? Adventure. So for these zodiac signs, again, it's about that. Can the brand make it almost like, okay, this is a last time offer for you. It's a FOMO that I have to create, right? For you, if you're an Arian, then I have to create a FOMO that this is a limited edition car. ये 10 ही बननी है, इसके बाद नहीं बनेंगी. Go grab it. As an Arian, you will have a very strong impulse to go and get it.
And I know an example for that.
Okay.
So I would not closely associate with any zodiac sign, but every other kid who's fond of Harry Potter, and when I say kid, they could be a teenager as well. Fond of Harry Potter, they were like going crazy about Kinder Joy. And at a age at 16, they really wanted that Kinder Joy, even if they like it or don't like it, because Harry Potter was a FOMO element. They were all going gaga about it. Like, wherever I need to find at least one pack of it.
Yeah.
I can tell it one zodiac sign, of course, that's Virgo, because my daughter is. So I know, but this is exactly where subconscious mind, that explicit behavior, the system 1 and system 2 were actually working. I can see it myself visually.
Exactly. And when you see these examples and when you can ratify them in your own personal experiences, you start believing it a lot more, right? I mean, you do have the data to tell you what's happening. But still, somewhere in your gut, you're like, okay, too good to be true. Maybe once it can, twice it can, maybe not for every kind of cases. But what we have seen is that, and because your personality traits, the starting point is so vast, that for every date of birth in that month, which is one zodiac completely, I can have, maybe thousands of traits to exhibit. So it's
True.
A gradient, right? So it's not that all Virgos are going to be similarly analytical. No. The grade will differ. The more Libran trait you have in a Virgo, you will start seeing that there's also a bit of indecisiveness. A more social element will start coming in. Visibly, let's say, when you're going towards the previous sign. So, again, it's not hard cast into 12 ways of behaving. No, not at all. There are gradients to it because our behavior is also, as a consumer, so layered. But this can get us to understand that very deeply and can also see an actionable output out of it, right? So as a marketer today, let's say if I'm spending millions of dollars behind doing my advertising campaigns and putting out some promotions out there, if I know that, in my target group, let's say, and if I were to able to segment it using, I would say, cosmic traits, then I know, okay, I attract a certain kind of zodiac trait into my fold for a certain reason, right? And to cater to them, or let's say cater to their kind of behaviors and needs in terms of various traits that I see, what are the kind of messaging that I need to do as a brand? What is the kind of promotion I need to run? Even let's say as simple as saying you are creating birthday offers. Every brand does it. Wish you happy birthday, right from an Airtel to, let's say, one of the most luxury brands, maybe a Taj Hotel, will send you a birthday email. How many times are you opening it?
Very rare.
Because that message is not talking to you.
Yeah.
Why is it not talking to you? Because they don't know what to tell you.
Exactly. I mean, generally it's like, wish you a very happy birthday.
Absolutely.
And I give you a promo code, use it.
Let's say if they were to send that birthday message, and getting back to Aries, Send them that birth. And I know that because as a brand, I have your date of birth, right? I'm not even asking for it. All I have to do is send you a birthday message, and in that I sent you an offer for a limited offer for a certain experience that is only for you. And the chances that you're going to open that mail and you're going to not only read it, but actually take that offer are going to be much higher than that mail going in junk. I'm still spending that same dollar and sending you the email, by the way.
Yeah. Quick example onto that. I saw this commercial ad of an airline where the moment they opened up the passport, they saw the date of birth, and that was the same day when this customer was flying. They ensured that, entire crew is onto that runway when the plane is about to take off, and they can, create that, happy birthday for you. That was more of a personalized experience when the father told the son that, just look into the window and you'll see something very surprising, and he loved it. So I think this is where that personalization factor comes a lot, but it is more subjective to, what the brands are showcasing to them.
Exactly.
Before we even talk about the future of marketing based on the zodiac sign, and when we talk about zodiac signs, हम अपना past history देखते हैं.
Correct.
So how relevance or probably what relevance does it bring when you do analysis on the zodiac signs and without knowing that, these are the traits I know, but what could have been the past history on a certain brand buying, loyalty or, trust? वो आप कहाँ से लेके आते हो? Do you actually work on that before you predict the future of them?
Yes. So 2 ways. One is that I can do it as a live study, let's say for a client, and I can map the behavior, and then I'll collect a primary data point at that point in time. The other is I will track the behavior from past, which is today again very easy, right? There is huge data available with brands. Can I just segment that database as Zodiac? Only thing the brand will need to have as a variable is a date of birth. If they haven't captured it, then I can't do anything about it, right?
So let's say they have actually captured it.
They have captured it. They have this data of last 3 years of how some, their consumers have shopped on their platform.
And then you'll map it with the zodiac traits.
Yes. If I can filter that by the zodiac traits because they have that data point, and I can see that, how the patterns are evolving in terms of the kind of offers they are going for after and after, the kind of sale events they're participating in, how many times they came back for the same brand, are they loyal, not loyal, right? Are they taking on new offer promotions, are the first ones to come onto it? And then I kind of segment it by the zodiac traits. Then I can actually do a predictive analysis on it, right? And I can also map your consumer segments, right? That what kind of segments as a brand or as a platform you are catering to, by and large. So this is very, very useful for some brands which are more in the transactional business, right? Because there it becomes even more paramount for me to get the right message across in the limited, attention frame that a consumer today has, and get them to take an action.
And where does it fit when it comes to customer segmentation, say millennials versus Gen Zs?
So that's very interesting because see, a zodiac trait is not subjected to which generation I belong to.
True.
Right? Only difference that will exhibit is behavior. So let's say if I'm talking about a Gen Z today and I'm mapping, doing a zodiac segmentation for them versus a millennial, I would probably see that the zodiac traits would not be different, but the behavioral traits will be different. Because they are two different generations, they think differently. Their value systems would be different. And that will have an impact. That is why it's so important to triangulate the methods. Otherwise, you will actually not get the right results.
Which is why when we interview 18 plus and you plug that zodiac sign data, you also have to understand what is their past behavior.
Exactly.
In order to predict the future of the marketing. So let's go consider, which we already talked about, that we got ample amount of data into the market, so we don't even have to worry about what data is missing out. In case it is still, we can do a survey data onto that. Yes. So where do you see the future of astrology into the marketing? And just as a niche trend, is it scalable when considering that we are getting into an era of AI and personalization?
I think it's absolutely scalable because the amount of data that maybe brands already have with them can easily be, modeled and can be used to do predictive analysis already. In terms of scalability, it is something that is as simple as getting someone's birthday, right? And this data is being collected as we speak, completely unused. Probably, it is something that you just collect and, you forget about it as a brand. I mean, right from a small restaurant today to keeping that tab on you to, maybe a luxury brand, you are not leveraging it, right? And if you are able to tap into this storehouse of data that is, being collected, you can not only mine this data for getting insights about your consumer, because it works two ways. One, you understand your consumer better. So when you said segmentation, how can it be used in segmentation? Today we do psychographic segmentation. We do our basic needs segmentation, demographic segmentation. If I can layer my psychographics into my zodiac personas, right, it not only tells me about how their lifestyle traits are, but it also tells me about how their choices and decisions are. And that is what we are there for, in the marketing. What do we want them to do?
Yeah.
We want them to take a decision. So if I can prompt a decision and I can predict a decision that you're likely to take because these are your dominant traits and this is what you're likely to do, I can see that manifestation in behavior data, which I already have as a brand. And that can build a very strong ecosystem for a brand to customize its offers, customize its messaging, customize its product solutions to the right consumer. So it's a sharper targeting, I would say, than what we are doing today. And it operates at a very subconscious level. That's the beauty of it. So even if today I am, as a consumer, giving you feedback on what I like, what I don't like, which you're taking at my face value, when you take that information at a subconscious level, then that is something which is hard truth, cannot be denied, right?
Well, I think, Smriti, I would 100% echo the thought. Any zodiac sign, for that matter, even you or me or anybody here who's listening this podcast at this moment of time, and we all look, or hear or read about what's going to happen next. We all have our own traits. We all understand what we love, what we don't like, what we dislike. And accordingly, we make our own decisions and choices. So if you're a brand and hearing this podcast and you still believe that zodiac sign is just an element which may work, which may not work, considering the kind of business I do or my company does, I think you should speak with Smriti again. Because there's a lot to talk about this model, which we have not covered completely, and we have not even covered all the zodiac signs. We still, there are a lot to scope about it. But I still strongly believe that if I know my consumer journey and if I tag it along with my zodiac sign, I think we can easily predict the future of our marketing strategies by adding the astrological signs to it and can create more personalized effects in marketing campaigns. And as she mentioned it in a couple of examples, that, if you're a brand at an airline, and if I love the idea of Aquarian, that if I can charity my points or frequent flyer points, I may be more brand loyal because I'm doing it as a charity for somebody else. And I kind of loved it. So there's so many things which are still untapped. And this study specifically, when I read it myself, I got fascinated about how can I not speak with Smriti about it. And thank you so much, Smriti, for coming and, sharing this whole study with us. This is fascinating to understand. There's always an element of not just system 1 and system 2. You actually created a system 3, which is more about, adding a zodiac sign and understanding. My curious question was to understand their past behavior first. Because every zodiac sign look at, to validate my future, I really need to know what my past was, and do you know actually or not? So consumer trends have always been there. We know how past data have shown the trends in the behavior pattern. So this is a truly fascinating conversation I had with Smriti today. And Smriti, again, I would thank you for stepping up and talking about this by large. And I'm sure if you're hearing this, I'll have Smriti's detail into the description box. So please go ahead, look for Smriti's details in the description box and connect with her on LinkedIn and try to understand from your perspective and your brand as to how she's making the change in how the marketing campaign should be run. So through the work being done at Incognito Insights, we are reminded that marketing isn't just about selling. It's about understanding people at a deeper and sometimes subconscious level. Whether it's through their behavioral-driven segmentation or the stars above, the future of insights lies in personalization and, as my favorite, empathy. In this episode, if this episode sparked ideas or made you rethink your next campaign strategies, don't forget to share it, rate it, and subscribe to the collaborative canvas on Spotify and YouTube. And again, connect with Smriti to know more. I am enthusiastic about what this study all about, so I'm sure there are other layers which we have not decoded it, which I leave it to you to discuss with her. Till then, stay curious and stay inspired. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you. Thank you, Smriti.
Thank you. Thank you so much.